Welcome to Coin Collector's World, the channel where history meets treasure, and where everyday coins can turn into unbelievable fortunes. If you are passionate about rare coins, incredible stories, and the thrill of discovering value where others see only pocket change, then you're in the right place. Stay with us until the very end of this video, because what seems like an ordinary 25-cent piece could actually be worth more than most people ever imagine. Today, we are talking about one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar with no mint mark. A coin that looks simple, but carries a story filled with change, mistakes, survival, and extraordinary value. Let's go back in time for a moment. The year is 1965. The United States is going through major shifts, socially, politically, and even economically. In the world of coinage, one of the biggest changes in American history was about to take place. For decades, U.S. quarters had been struck in 90% silver. That meant every quarter wasn't just a piece of money, it had real metal value. People trusted it, saved it, and even melted it. But as silver prices started to rise in the early 1960s, a crisis was brewing. Americans began hoarding silver coins. Think about it, why spend a quarter worth 25 cents if the silver inside was creeping closer to that same value or even higher? The U.S. Mint realized something had to be done. If silver coins disappeared from circulation, commerce would be disrupted. So in 1965, a bold new decision was made. Silver would be removed from the quarter. Instead, a new coin would be born, made of copper and nickel bonded together, the clad coin we still use today. But there was another twist. To discourage people from hoarding or hunting for certain mint marks, the mint eliminated mint marks altogether for that year. So whether a quarter came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, it carried no mark. Every single 1965 quarter was blank in that regard, making it stand out in U.S. coinage history. Now, at first glance, this may seem like the end of the story. Billions of these new clad quarters were struck. They filled pockets, registers, and piggy banks. And most of them today? They're still worth just 25 cents. But this is where the story takes a thrilling turn. During the massive transition from silver to clad, a few errors slipped through the cracks. Leftover silver planchets from 1964 somehow got fed into the presses in 1965. The result? A tiny handful of Washington quarters dated 1965 were struck not on copper-nickel blanks, but on 90% silver planchets. Imagine the odds of that happening, and then imagine one of those rare treasures surviving the chaos of circulation for decades. Collectors call these error coins, but to treasure hunters, they are jackpots. Because these silver-struck 1965 quarters are among the rarest modern coins in existence. So how can you tell if you might have one of these special quarters? First, look at the weight. A standard clad 1965 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. But the silver version tips the scales at about 6.25 grams. That small difference might not sound like much, but for collectors, it's the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. Next, examine the edge. On clad quarters, you'll notice a visible copper line running through the middle, almost like a sandwich of metals. But on the silver planchet, that copper line is gone. The edge will appear solid silver all the way around. And finally, listen carefully. Silver coins have a distinctive ring when tapped gently against another coin. It's a sound collectors train their ears to recognize instantly. Imagine the scene. You're sorting through an old coin jar at your grandmother's house, and suddenly, you notice a 1965 quarter that feels a little heavier, looks a little shinier, and sounds a little different. You rush to weigh it, and the scale confirms the truth. That one coin, sitting quietly for decades, could be worth more than most people's annual salaries. That's why collectors never stop looking. Because the next incredible find could still be out there, waiting to be discovered. Now let's talk about the market, because this is where the excitement truly builds. Collectors have chased these rare 1965 quarters for years. Auctions have been electrified by the appearance of silver error quarters from that year. And when they do appear, the bidding wars are fierce. So, the question you've all been waiting for: what is one of these rare 1965 Washington quarters without a mint mark really worth today? The answer will leave you stunned. One of these rare silver-struck 1965 quarters has been sold for the breathtaking amount of $55,000. Take a moment to let that sink in. A coin most people would overlook as simple pocket change, a coin you might have spent on candy, gum, or parking meters, has been valued at a sum so staggering, it could buy a new car, pay for a year of college tuition, or serve as a down payment on a home. This is the magic of coin collecting. History hides in plain sight. Mistakes become treasures. And small details turn into fortunes. That's why at Coin Collectors World, we encourage every viewer to keep searching, keep learning, and keep looking at your coins. Because you never know when the next rare discovery will appear right before your eyes. So before you spend that next quarter, take a second look. The date 1965 may just hold a secret that could change your life. Today we will be exploring a coin that many people overlook in their daily lives, yet it holds a story filled with history, artistry, and even the possibility of incredible fortune. I am talking about the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1987 with the Philadelphia Mint mark. Let us begin by traveling back in time. The Washington quarter first appeared in 1932, created to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the very first President of the United States of America. The portrait of Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, became a lasting symbol of leadership and honor. Over the decades, this quarter became one of the most familiar and trusted coins in circulation, always reminding Americans of their history and values. By the time 1987 arrived, the Washington quarter had already been circulating for 55 years. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck millions of quarters carrying the small but important letter P. To most people, these coins were just everyday money, used for parking meters, vending machines, or pay phones. But among these millions of coins, some were destined to survive in extraordinary condition, becoming treasures for collectors decades later. When you hold a 1987 P Washington quarter in your hand, you are holding more than just 25 cents. You are holding a piece of American history. On the obverse, you will see George Washington's proud and determined profile, the word liberty above, the phrase "In God We Trust" to the side, and the year 1987 shining at the bottom. Right beside Washington's ponytail, you can spot the small letter P, a mark that connects the coin to the historic Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin, and the reverse tells its own story. An eagle with wings spread wide dominates the design, a symbol of courage and freedom. The eagle is perched upon arrows, representing strength and defense, yet the olive branches beneath remind us that peace is always the ultimate goal. For decades, this design remained unchanged, becoming a trusted companion in the hands of millions of Americans, before eventually being replaced by the 50-state quarters program at the end of the century. But what makes the 1987 P quarter stand out today? The secret lies in rarity, grade, and collector demand. While millions were struck, very few survived in perfect condition. Most were spent, scratched, and worn down in circulation. But imagine a few coins, kept safely away from pockets and purses, never sliding across a counter or clinking in a jar. Those coins, untouched and shining with original mint luster, are what collectors dream of. Grading plays a vital role in determining a coin's value. Coins are carefully examined by experts who grade them on a scale, with mint state coins sitting at the very top. A flawless quarter from 1987 with sharp details, dazzling luster, and no marks at all can become extremely desirable in the collector market. When these coins are presented at auctions, collectors compete fiercely, driving prices higher and higher. Think about it for a moment. A coin struck nearly 4 decades ago, something most people would pass off as ordinary, could be sitting in someone's drawer, waiting to be discovered. It could be hiding in a jar of coins saved for laundry, or tucked away in a forgotten collection. The thrill of discovery is what makes coin collecting so exciting. Each quarter you pick up might be ordinary, but it could also be a hidden fortune. Many collectors enjoy the hunt as much as the reward. They search through rolls of quarters from banks, they examine change from stores, and they check the dates on coins that others ignore. And every now and then, someone gets lucky and finds something truly spectacular. The 1987 P. Washington quarter dollar has already made history among collectors. One of the finest examples ever graded shocked the world when it crossed the auction block. This coin, shining bright with its original mint luster, proved that not all quarters are equal. Some carry a story of preservation, rarity, and value far beyond their face, and here comes the part you've been waiting for. How much could such a coin be worth? Are we talking about $100? $1,000? Or even more? The truth is, the highest recorded value for a 1987 P. Washington quarter dollar reached an absolutely unbelievable total. This tiny piece of metal, originally worth only 25 cents, soared to the astonishing price of $44,000. So the next time you receive a quarter in your change, take a close look at it. Check the year. Look for the mint mark. And if you ever come across a 1987 P. Washington quarter in mint condition, remember this story. Because that little coin in your hand might not just buy you a gumball or a soda, it might just change your life forever. Today we are diving into the world of coins and hidden treasures that might be sitting right in your pocket without you even realizing it. Yes, that is true. Coins we often use every single day can sometimes be worth a fortune if they happen to be rare or in perfect condition, and the coin that we will explore together today is the Washington quarter dollar from the year 1989 with the D mint mark. Now before we jump straight into the value, let us take a journey through history, because every coin has a story to tell. The Washington quarter was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the very first president of the United States of America. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became one of the most recognized coins in American circulation. From 1932 all the way to the year 1998, the design remained almost the same, showing George Washington on the front side and an eagle with open wings on the back side. This design has become an icon, and when people think about a quarter, they think about the Washington design. Now let us move forward to the year 1989. This was a year when the United States Mint produced millions upon millions of quarters across its different facilities. The coin that concerns us was struck at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small letter D. That little mint mark may seem unimportant, but for collectors it is crucial because it tells us exactly where the coin was made. The Denver Mint has been responsible for producing countless coins for circulation, but not all coins from Denver are ordinary. Some carry secrets, some carry errors, and some survive in such beautiful condition that they shock the coin collecting world. When you pick up an average 1989 D quarter from circulation, you may notice scratches, dullness, and wear from being used in everyday transactions, but once in a while a coin is discovered in near perfect mint state condition, and that is when things get very interesting. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification, checking for the sharpness of strike, the brilliance of the luster, and the absence of marks. If a coin is found to be nearly flawless, it receives a very high grade, and with a high grade comes high demand, and with high demand comes unbelievable prices. Now let us pause for a moment and think how many people in 1989 would have ever guessed that one simple quarter worth just 25 cents could one day be valued like a piece of treasure. Back then these coins were used to make phone calls from payphones, to buy a soda, or to add to the parking meter. Nobody thought of keeping them in untouched condition. That is why finding a 1989 D quarter in pristine condition today is almost like finding a time capsule that has survived untouched for decades. Collectors all over the world love the Washington quarter because it combines history, beauty, and nostalgia. The portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, shows the strength and dignity of America's founding father. On the reverse, the eagle stands proudly as a symbol of power and freedom. Every small detail in the feathers and the branches has meaning, and when a coin shows those details sharply without wear, it becomes a miniature piece of art. But beyond history and design lies the question of rarity. The truth is, not every 1989 D quarter is valuable. If your coin has been used and is scratched or worn, it will still only be worth its face value of 25 cents. But when we talk about extremely rare examples with the highest grades certified by professionals, that is where the magic number comes into play. Some of these coins have shocked collectors at auctions, selling for amounts that nobody would believe at first glance. And here comes the most exciting part of this video. There exists one shining example of the 1989 D Washington quarter dollar that has reached a jaw-dropping price in the collector's market. It proves once again that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary value if preserved with care. That special coin reached an astonishing price, offered $7,000. Today we are about to explore one of the most exciting discoveries in the world of modern American coinage. At first, it may look like just another coin that you might find lying in your change, but in reality, it holds a secret that has shocked both collectors and treasure hunters across the country. The coin I'm talking about is the Washington Quarter Dollar from the year 2018, minted with the D Mint mark from Denver. Now, why should you care about this particular quarter? After all, quarters have been around for decades. Millions and millions of them are produced every single year. Most of them pass from hand to hand, from store counters to vending machines, and eventually wear down to the point where they are just everyday money. But among those millions, there are always a few special ones. The kind of coins that make people stop, stare, and wonder how something so ordinary could turn into something so valuable. The Washington Quarter itself has a rich history. It was first introduced back in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Over time, the coin's design has changed, from the classic eagle reverse to the famous 50-state quarters program that began in the late 1990s, and later the America the Beautiful Quarter series. By the time we reached the year 2018, collectors were already paying close attention to each new release, searching for varieties, errors, and high-grade examples. Now here comes the interesting part. The Denver Mint, marked with the small letter D, produced a huge number of Washington quarters in 2018. On the surface, they all looked the same. But as collectors began submitting these coins to professional grading services, something fascinating was discovered. Among those coins, a very tiny fraction were struck so perfectly, with such clean surfaces and sharp details, that they received some of the highest grades possible. For those who are new to coin collecting, the grade of a coin is a way to measure its condition. A heavily worn coin might be called fine or very fine, while a shiny, untouched coin might be called mint state. The highest mint state grades, such as 67, 68, or above, are extremely rare for modern circulating coins. And that rarity is where the real value begins. Imagine you are at home, searching through a jar of loose change. You've probably done it before, maybe just to count coins for parking meters or to roll them up for the bank. Suddenly, you see a shiny quarter. You pick it up, turn it around, and notice it's dated 2018 with a D Mint mark. At first, you think nothing of it. It's just 25 cents, right? But if that coin happens to be one of the perfectly preserved examples, you might be holding a hidden fortune right there in your hands without even realizing it. This is the thrill that keeps collectors and treasure hunters searching. It's the possibility that a small piece of change, something so common and overlooked, can be transformed into something that makes your jaw drop. People have found coins in their pockets, in their car cup holders, or even in rolls from the bank, only to later discover they had something worth far more than its face value. But let's talk specifically about this coin. The Washington Quarter Dollar of 2018 with the Denver Mint mark has already set records. Some examples in superb condition have gone through professional auctions, where serious collectors competed fiercely to own them. The results? Absolutely stunning. What started as just another coin from the mint, worth only 25 cents at the cash register, suddenly became the star of the auction block. And here's what makes it even more exciting: this is not a centuries-old coin, not a rare gold piece, not even a silver dollar from the past. This is a modern quarter that you could still find in circulation today. That's right. It could be sitting in your wallet, your coin jar, or even inside a vending machine right now. That possibility is what makes this story so powerful and thrilling. So, what is the true value of this coin? Well, collectors and experts have studied the market, looked at past auction results, and the numbers are clear. The right example, in the right grade, has already sold for as much as $4,000. Today we are unlocking the story of a coin that most people in America have probably held in their hands at some point, maybe even tossed into a vending machine or dropped into a change jar without a second thought. But little do they know, inside this everyday coin lies a mystery, a secret, and for the lucky ones, a fortune. We are talking about the Washington Quarter Dollar from the year 2021 with the P Mint mark. Now let's begin at the very roots of this coin story. The Washington Quarter was first introduced all the way back in 1932, created to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the very first President of the United States of America. Since that year, the Washington Quarter has become one of the most recognizable and longest-running coins in circulation. From the original Eagle reverse design to the incredible 50-state quarters program, then the America the Beautiful National Park series, and finally into the modern coinage of the 21st century, this coin has carried more than just monetary value. It carries history, symbolism, and even pride, but what makes the year 2021 so interesting? By then, the United States Mint had already completed the long-running National Park Quarters program. That series had been running from 2010 to 2020, with each coin celebrating a different national park from each state and territory. So when 2021 arrived, collectors and coin lovers were eager to see what would come next. And sure enough, the Mint gave us a final design honoring the Tuskegee Airmen, those legendary World War II pilots who made history both in the skies and in the fight for equality. Now, here's where the details matter. The Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic coin-producing facilities in America, was responsible for striking millions of these quarters. And if you take a close look at the obverse of the coin, you'll notice a small letter right under the words that read, "In God We Trust." That little letter P is the mint mark. It tells us that this particular quarter was struck in Philadelphia, not Denver, not San Francisco, not West Point, only Philadelphia. For collectors, mint marks are like fingerprints, each one telling us exactly where a coin came from, and each mint often has its own special stories, errors, and rarities. Now think about this. When the Philadelphia Mint machines are running, thousands of coins are pressed every single minute. Dies clash, planchets misfeed, and sometimes the tiniest flaws slip through unnoticed. A doubled die, a repunched mint mark, a weak strike, or even a coin struck off-center can suddenly change the destiny of that coin. Instead of being just another piece of pocket change worth 25 cents, it becomes a collectible, a rarity, something that coin hunters and collectors would pay good money to add to their collection. But it's not only about errors. Condition is king. If a coin somehow escapes the normal wear and tear of daily life, if it has been preserved perfectly from the moment it left the press, then it can become something extraordinary. That's why grading is such a big part of the hobby. Professional coin grading services examine coins under magnification, looking at the tiniest details, the sharpness of the design, the brightness of the luster, the absence of scratches or marks. A coin in poor condition may only ever be worth face value, but the very same coin in a flawless state, what collectors call mint state or even higher, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And this is exactly what happened with the Washington Quarter from 2021 with the Philadelphia Mint mark. While millions of ordinary examples are floating around in circulation, a small number of coins exist in such high quality, with such rarity, that their value skyrockets. Imagine walking down the street, buying a soda, and the cashier gives you your change. You look down and see a quarter. To most people, it's just 25 cents. But for someone who knows what to look for, that little coin could be a golden ticket. That's what makes coin collecting so magical. Every coin in your pocket is like a lottery ticket waiting to be checked. The thrill of discovery keeps collectors searching through rolls of quarters, scanning through piles of change, and studying every detail under a magnifying glass. And here's the most exciting part of the story. Among these 2021 Washington quarters struck in Philadelphia, some pieces have been found in pristine condition and graded at the very top levels by professional services. These coins are the superstars of the series, the ones that leave collectors speechless. And yes, they have commanded astonishing prices in the open market. Now I know you've been waiting for this moment, the big reveal, the jaw-dropping number that makes this entire hunt worthwhile. So here it is. One of these Washington quarter dollar coins from the year 2021 with the P Mint mark has been valued at $3,000. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and share it with your friends so they can also discover how pocket change can sometimes turn into a treasure.